Hey guys, Lucas here. This is going to be a video on Arteezy's Pangolier, how good I think it is, how well he's performing in his games, things that I think he could improve on, stuff like that. So we're going to dive into his first game where he performs really well playing Pangolier carry. Definitely something I don't recommend, but I do notice a lot of places where he could improve on, and where if he kind of added this on to his strong lane ability, he could be some sort of unstoppable force on the Pangolier carry if he wanted to try this out in the pro scene. So without further ado, here we go. Alright, so this is going to be slightly sort of a free-form replay review. I'm going to try to be talking the entire time. I do have some stuff I've written down for times that I've noticed there are things that he does a little inaccurately, or maybe there's a place that I want to point out that he's doing really well. But otherwise, I'm going to just kind of go through this replay and kind of give my perspective on Arteezy playing Pangolier in general, kind of Pangolier being played in the safe lane role, stuff like that. I hope I'll touch on everything. So first, there's going to be a rune fight. I do want to remark that Jakiro is a very strong laner, and this lane is probably going to go pretty well for them. He gets a nice Q through, hits both enemies, big dual breath coming out as well. It's just favorable trades in general. Gets the rune. Now, here's something where he notices fire spirits aren't up. So he sees that the Phoenix is playing a little too far up. You have the Jakiro in position to land a dual breath, and he pings to go. Here, he walks up, gets an auto attack off first, and then watches Q through the enemy. So as he Qs through, you can see after he gets his auto attack, he Qs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He gets the 5 procs. So 5 stars for me. I'm not sure how much Pango you play, Arteezy, but this was a pretty nice kill. Kind of just knowing when his spells were up, recognizing he was playing too far up, and then just understanding that going through the enemy and doing it correctly will deal more damage. So that was a great kill. From here on out, it's just going to be a lot of outlaning. So something about Arteezy that I will say, I am a victim of this as well, is that he is very, very good at laning. Very good at controlling where the lane is, getting the last hits, and noticing these situations in which he can trade with the enemy, and when these trades are very favorable. And kind of all of this at the highest level is what really makes him scary. So imagine like every trade that you make, you having to question, is this trade good for me? Or does he think that this trade's better for him? You know, that's kind of the mind games that goes on in the lane. Like, Arteezy's such a good player, why would he be making this trade? Stuff like that. So here it's really just outlaning. So he's level 2. He's going on 2 heroes that are level 1. Here I find this Q to be slightly inaccurate. I would have Q'd from here, maybe to hit both enemies, but instead he ends up landing here. Slightly wrong in my mind, but it's not that big a deal. And honestly, I think this lane, I kind of thought about this as I was watching this originally. I think this lane is being hard carried by his laning ability. Now, his enemies aren't bad in the least, right? They're pretty high ranked for NA pubs, but the skill difference between such a high ranked player like Arteezy and just having such a strong hero like Jakiro in the lane, I think is just very unstoppable for this Radiant safe lane. I can definitely guarantee you that if Arteezy was playing Terrorblade or Arc Warden in this lane, I also believe that Dire would be having a lot of trouble in this lane, just purely by Arteezy's laning ability. Again, I'm not just trying to say, okay, well, of course he's Arteezy, he's good. I've played against him before, and he's one of the most annoying carries to play against. I always find myself needing more and more salves, questioning how he's able to make these trades with me while the lane remains same for him. So like here, the Phoenix is trying to drag the wave back. Arteezy recognizes this, goes on the Phoenix, right-clicks him a lot. Could have done a little bit of a closer Q earlier there to get more procs off, but it's trades like these that make him such a dominant laner. He recognizes, I can go for this trade. He's going to have like 0 health after it, and I can go back to this lane, and everything's going to be fine, right? Like, the lane equilibrium is just going to be here, and everything's just going to be fine. He's going to go on the Phoenix again when he's lower health. Only this time when he goes on him, because of that trade that he made earlier in the lane, it will result in a kill. So, great job there. I don't have many notes here until around 6 minutes, so I do want to talk a little bit about what makes a player good at a hero. So one thing that I thought of a little bit. Okay, well, hold on. I guess there's a fight here. I'm not sure if anything happens. Just like a decent Q through. I don't really have much to say here. It's a lot of stuff that goes on in this lane. I really like how he's using his Q. Something that I find for, like, kind of less people that have played Pangolier, like, not that much, even among high MMR players, is they won't full range cast their Swashbuckle. It'll be like some sort of half range cast, and it won't be that pretty. But Arteezy is very aware that the full range cast is very optimal. So here, I don't even know if he goes on the Phoenix, but you will see the next time he casts Q, it is mostly long range. Sorry, going back to my other point about what makes a player good at a hero, because while Arteezy plays like a few Pango games a year or something like that, he is still probably among the top percentile of Pango players. And while this will make you sad, for me, this makes me sad, right? He's already so close to me in terms of Pango skill, but you have to kind of think about what makes a hero, or what makes a player a good player, or what makes a player good at a specific hero, right? And so some stuff that I wrote down that I thought of earlier was, I thought it came down to understanding of how the hero should be played in the game, and everything else is based on execution. So how well you perform running around the map, like your movements, how well you cast your spells, how aware you are of certain situations and when to go in, stuff like that. And the thing that makes Arteezy so good at kind of this game in general is he has such a high level, or he's at such a high level in terms of movement on the map and how the lane should be played. I mean, he also has a high understanding of how heroes should be played, but having an already such high level on like how the lane should be played kind of gives you a real big head start. So for example, from my perspective, I'm not too great at Sand King or Legion Commander yet, or Doom, to be honest. But I think a lot of that comes down to my hero understanding, not really like the lane mechanics side. So like I kind of have a little bit of trouble finding out where to go later on in the game, but I still won't have trouble kind of performing well in lane against players of equal skill, in my opinion at least. So yeah, what makes Arteezy so good, he could be playing any hero here and I think that it would be going well. You can see the lane is still frozen here, and if I was the Phoenix, I would be really frustrated because I don't know, this is a frustrating lane. I'm playing with a Tiny, I'm against a Jakiro, and I'm just getting bodied. I'm under-leveled so far, times are rough, right? Here I have written down that this is a great Q, so I guess we're going to see what happens here. Here, he tries to cut off the Phoenix, Q's through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a perfect Q. Yeah, nothing more to remark there. I might cut this video if I end up stumbling on myself or forgetting what my words are, but hopefully that doesn't happen. So anyways, Arteezy's just completely owning this lane. And again, I feel like he'd be doing this on any hero. I don't think this is some sort of Pango-specific thing. I hope that, like, tons of people aren't going and be like, whoa, Arteezy played carry Pangolier. It's so good, holy shit. But it's really just his own skill carrying him in this lane. In my honest opinion, I think he would agree. So anyways, lane's gonna continue. I have something written down here that he does a cool trick. So here, this is something really interesting that I will try to overlay on the screen as well while I'm talking. But here he Qs, he bounces off the wall like this, and without knowing it, I don't know if he knows that this is the interaction, but if you spam click, immediately after you hear the bonk, when you hit the wall, in a different direction, you will travel in that direction. So as you can see, he's spam clicking here. As soon as he hits the wall, he bounces up like this. Now, I don't know if this was his intention. It definitely looked very flashy, but it was... it's a very simple trick that I don't even use that much. While I am aware of its existence, it's highly unpredictable is the main problem, first of all, on the consistency on how you can perform the trick. I'm sure he didn't mean to do the trick either, but nonetheless, he did recover very well. Here he just gets ganked. I don't have much to say about this. And here we have a mid gank. So here we see the Spectre come mid. He ports in, casts his Q, goes for the rune. I don't know if he realizes that Sky is going to do this much damage. Ends up using his roll. It's not too big a deal. We're going to run bottom after this. Now, here is something that I kind of question. So this is a great play. He goes on the enemy, notices the enemy heroes are porting in. Kind of plays a little bit safe. Just kind of watching himself, playing really careful. And this is something I really like as well. As Arteezy kind of knows this on a lot of heroes. Sometimes I'll play these heroes like Sand King or Doom, and I'll end up going in, and I won't really recognize my hero's limits. I think that's more because I haven't played the hero that much, but it's just played really well. Like a very safe Q, he walks away, you can see the cast hits him, doesn't bounce towards anyone. he's very aware of his surroundings, where the enemies are, when his Q is up. This is a really nice Q as well. And now he gets enough mana for a roll. So here he rolls in on the Tiny. Here I think something he could have done better is kind of move his camera up a little more. For hitting this this Witch Doctor, you can see he camera grips, and he kind of misses. I'm not sure how hard it is to camera grip hit people with roll, because I don't really use camera grip much in game. I use it every once in a while, but not really. It's not my main source of kind of camera movement. I will probably overlay something right now of me trying to use camera grip to hit heroes in demo hero mode, and yeah, I don't think it goes very well. But yeah, there's really I don't remember what my other talking points were. There's really not much more to say about his Pangolier. There is something to remark about playing Pangolier as a safe laner that I kind of don't like. So I think that Pangolier's ability, like one of his strongest suits in these games, are his ability to play aggressively and not die. Here, I think he plays a little bit too aggressively. He does see the Witch Doctor underneath, but doesn't really take into account that someone would port in. Kind of just an unfortunate circumstance that there is a Void Spirit here and he dies, but nonetheless, I might have died there too going for that tower. So what I was going to say was something about Pangolier that I don't like for when it's played on carry, is that you kind of want to take a lot of unsafe farm when you play Pangolier. You don't want to take all this safe farm in your jungle, because you have a lot of escape abilities, right? You have your Q to get out, you have your roll as well, and I think that when you play Pangolier as like a mid or an offlaner, you can abuse a lot of his abilities and his escape mobilities to farm in kind of locations that are maybe not as safe, also threaten kills with your roll. It's kind of just one of those heroes in my mind. Like, yeah, you can farm your own jungle, but when you take this role of like, okay, well, I'm going to farm the unsafe farm, you know, your carry player can farm all the safe farm in your own jungle. That's kind of how I see the hero being played. He also has a lot of difficulties like actually carrying the game when it gets to late game against heroes like Spectre or Terrorblade, especially when you don't have another carry or high damage dealer on your team, as I don't think Pangolier, I don't think his main job is to deal heavy damage in a team fight. There's been a lot of experimentation in the past with eggs, but I don't think that is the way to go. So here, he's kind of just farming. His team is just winning the game, running down lanes. And kind of his role this game is, you know, as he is playing carry, is to just take all this farm and get really big. And hopefully they'll win the game before he falls off. But as you can see, they're up 12k, so there really isn't not much to say here. We'll just kind of analyze his roles a little bit more. And yeah, it's a pretty chill game for him. So yeah, this probably wasn't that informative, to be honest, in terms of everything that Arteezy does wrong. So I will probably cut to another Arteezy VOD where he plays more Pangolier. You can see more of his roles, because here he kind of just crushes the enemy base. He's 25k up. He does some silly deaths here, but alright, so the second game that I'm going to grab, I only really have 2 games. He did play 3 games, but as well, this one I can't download the replay. Unfortunately, I got to it too late, but I was able to become an Arteezy sub, and I did download the VOD. So we're going to get a few more clips from here. Just going to start off the first clip that I found. It just kind of highlights, I really don't like his mana usage. So the lane kind of went as normal, just like how it usually went, or how I showed it earlier in the previous game, where he just kind of stomped the lane, played really well, used his very strong laning in order to propel him.
Who the fuck used it before they fucking sent it off, dude?
Here his Arcane Ring is in use, and then he picks it up hoping to use it, and unfortunately can't. Gets a nice stack and cues the wave successfully there with the going through technique as well. He's farming this very well. But yeah, I just prefer if he bought a little bit more clarities during the course of this entire game. And again, the Midas purchase is I can kind of get it. You know, he's playing Pango carry. I kind of don't understand the Vlads that he ends up buying later on, but nonetheless, I think if he bought more clarities, I think he would have a much better game, especially with how much he's farming jungle and pushing out lanes. All right, so here Arteezy sees a fight going on middle, looks to fight as well, but the fight does seem to be kind of over. Does miss his Q, notices there's an SD here, pops his roll, which I can kind of get behind. I guess he really wants that kill. While you can press W and then Q afterwards in order to, you know, you kind of hear his laugh, he's kind of just trolling. But his level 1 W isn't really doing much at this point in the game. You know, he's kind of just having fun with it all. But in reality, this was kind of a poor use of his mana, and the fact he doesn't have clarities as well. Like, yeah, he does have raindrops and arcane ring, but he does have to be pretty careful on his mana, or it will come back to bite him later on. Alright, I'm just now realizing what I said earlier. I mentioned that he pressed W, and I mentioned resolving. So just for the people that don't know, here he kind of messes up his roll. Not really much to complain about here, though. Don't think too much is really going wrong, except for just showing his mana pool. A lot of this game is just, I think if he... So this was like one of his... like, he played like 3 Pango games over the course of like 3 days or something. This is like one of his earlier Pango games. The one that I showed at the beginning was one of the later ones that I think he played like exceptionally well. But this one, you kind of just notice his mana problem a bit. The roll was a little bit deep. Again, it's hard to say based on the mini-map being covered, so I can't really say exactly what I would have done given the same circumstance. But yeah, just having his mana pool a little bit higher. And what I mentioned earlier about resolving, so for non-Pango players, while you're rolling, if you press W and you're in the middle of the air, you can press your Q, and you'll immediately resolve the W effect at the location of where your Q is. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, here he just gets run down. Not much to say here. We'll jump to another clip in a sec. Alright, so here we have another fight. Just after using roll to escape a dangerous push that he was in top lane, he finally gets his BKB going, and he runs into a fight. So I very much like his item choices. Other than the Vlad's is a little bit questionable in my opinion. Maybe it's good. Maybe he's trying to find a way to make carry Pango good. Otherwise, he's doing a great job. You can see here he's queuing through, using Q to... Okay, so you can see here he used Q to reposition to, like, right in front of... God. Right in front of the disruptor, and that's exactly what you should do when you cast your Q. So the ideal situation is, so if you've watched the other video on Pango tips and tricks, the ideal situation is when you Q, you need to use it for displacement and also to deal the maximum amount of damage. But you also need to be careful about this displacement part, about where you go, right? Because you don't want to be too far away from the enemy, so you can't hit them. And in this case, where you're chasing someone down, you want to be like right in front of them, so you can kind of basically block them and get more auto attacks in, and kind of get more auto attack. Yeah, whoa, sorry, I just said that. Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
So, anyways, it was a sick fight. This Q kind of just he messes up a bit, but it's not that big a deal. And
7, 8 times.
Yeah, he did hit a lot of times. He didn't get the proc, but yeah. Anyways, going on to the next clip. Sorry, I just realized I cut that play off a little bit early.
Fuck him up. Let's go.
Nothing happens though. Nothing happens though. Don't worry. You didn't miss anything. Alright, so again, I just want to say, yeah, it's unfortunate that I don't have that many clips I can really look at, but again, I do kind of have to give him the benefit of the doubt on all the plays that he doesn't kind of go in on because of, I can't really see his mini-map, and I don't really know what he's seeing, so I just kind of have to assume that he's not taking bad fights. So this fight looks really good initially. He got the stun off on the Earth Spirit. He cast Abyssal Blade. Here, something I didn't really talk about was his talent choice. So here you can see he had extra time left on his roll, and he didn't want to use the extra roll part. So like here you can see his roll is kind of running out. He's like chasing the... I know this is kind of scuffed a little bit, but you can see he's chasing the Shadow Demon. You can see his roll is about to run out. Here you can actually press W, and it will extend the duration of your roll, so that you would probably maybe land on top of him and deal extra damage. I guess your mana is a slight issue, but I think that if he realized that his W is up and he could have casted it, he probably would have casted it. Here he ends up... I believe he gets this kill anyways. But, yeah, just a small thing. And yeah, this fight goes really well. Alright, so, I guess kind of a few more plays left. I'm not quite sure how... I don't remember how exactly long this replay was. Great use of BKB. He does find himself a little bit too deep in the enemy base. Again, I don't really have... I don't have the perspective that he has, so I don't know exactly where the enemies are. I can only really see who's dead, who's alive. But nonetheless, that was an unfortunate play. Not gonna, you know, I might have done that too, you know, if I'm feeling myself a little too much. But not really a Pango-related play that I can really comment on. Yeah. Alright, so the enemy team has since tried to push, and Arteezy's team successfully defended. And here we're going to see one of the last fights that goes on in this game. Unfortunately, there weren't too many, because a lot of it was related to just movement on the map, and I think he was generally in the right position. And it's really hard for me to comment on that again. So here we go. I love this initial Q in. He's at a perfect distance in order to roll. Very, very safe distance. This is a little bit questionable. Getting his Q off so late. Also casting the Abyssal so quickly. Generally, I like to like roll and then see if I can get an Abyssal off. I really like how he bounces off the wall there and then presses W again. He's also very good at following his hero. Something that I find when I look at a lot of Pango replays are people kind of lose track of their hero, or they don't really follow their hero with their camera, and of course Arteezy doesn't have a problem with that. So yeah, nonetheless, a great fight. Bounced off a lot of correct walls. Again, what I mentioned earlier was I don't really get the shield crash talent much anymore. I find that 2.5 seconds is a little bit too long, especially when in comparison to the additional 3 seconds that you could get by rolling with your 15 talent. And yeah, that's gonna wrap up this game. I hope you learned something. Hope I helped. You know, if not showing you what Arteezy did wrong, hopefully I showed you a lot of stuff that Arteezy does right, and maybe you guys could learn from that. But if not, best of luck in your pubs, and thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.